Okay, now I think we need to move to the last part of the conversation, which is what Machiavelli would definitely have loved. And he definitely would have wanted to be remembered for his chapter on conspiracies.
Okay.
Again, he left no traces. Okay, so he says there are three primary causes for conspiracies, and they have to do with offenses to lifeblood, honor, and property. And basically, he says that most of the times, the people can't carry out a conspiracy. They don't have enough courage. They don't have access to the target of the conspiracy. It is mostly people who are in the close environment of the target, and usually nobles. And whether they have been benefited or not by the target, it makes no difference for Machiavelli. He says that.
Can I just quickly say, when you talk about, and he talks about conspiracy, you're largely talking about a conspiracy to commit an assassination?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah, he's not talking about conspiracy theories and about the chip and the,
or the conspiracy of the first triumvirate or something.
Yeah.
Killings, assassinations.
Yes.
Right,
it's plots to assassinate
make that
people.
Clear. Right, yeah.
Yes.
I wonder how many of them he carried out. Anyway.
Yeah. So he says that basically there are three stages. If you want to conspire against a person, there are three stages: before, during, and after. And you need to basically pay really close attention at how you're going to...
So I just find this, Machiavelli's like, listen, I've got a lot to say about conspiracies.
Yeah.
So you go over this, you go over that, just really detailed. You start listening, you're like, you do know a lot about this, don't you? It's very sus.
This is the biggest chapter in the whole book. It's really thorough.
Yeah.
So, and he divides it, and imagine him giving a PowerPoint presentation.
Exactly.
Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3.
These are the pitfalls.
Yeah.
How do I know? Just trust me. Just trust
me.
Just don't do this.
It's the BDA model. Before, during, and after. And he would give all the graphs and the asterisks there.
Just remarkable.
For people to remember better. So he said there are three stages: before, during, and after. And there are all sorts of ways in which things could go wrong. Most conspiracies go wrong. And he says there are particular problems with each stage, and you need to be very careful of them if you want to assassinate the target of your conspiracy, because otherwise you're going to be assassinated.
Yeah, you'll be revealed and you'll get hanged.
Yes. So he says basically that before the plan, the main issue is that people talk, and walls have ears.
Yep.
Whether they talk intentionally or unintentionally, there is information outside. So if someone understands the plot, they're going to kill you. There are all sorts of ways. It's a very complex chapter because he really loves how all these things work. And I think
leakage is a major issue in the preamble to the conspiracy.
And I'll share some really funny examples with you in a bit. But what it says is basically that you need to bear in mind that you need maximum 4 people. If you have more...
I just love how specific it seems. Trust me, conspiracies of 5 or more people just do not work.
Yeah, he just says this because the problem is you have some grievances against the target, and the other persons have some grievances, but they are weighing how much they stand to win from giving the plot away. Because let's say they hate the target. The question is, what would I win if the target I hate thinks I saved him or her? So they make this calculation. So he says, if you go past number 4, it's almost impossible.
Amazing.
Yes. And you need to be very, very, very careful. And people need to be very strong and courageous. And I don't know if he uses the word moral to not give away the plot.
Loyal, I think is.
Yes, loyal to the plot. And he basically says that, people talk and, interests constantly change. And people make all sorts of calculations and judgments about what to do that change constantly. So you definitely need few people. If it's a committee, it won't work.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just like how 4 just feels like such an arbitrary number.
Yes.
Like you would only come to that number after trial and error, right?
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't pluck that out of a hat.
Yeah.
You know?
This is more like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The meaning of life is 42.
It's just an
really
arbitrary
specific.
number. Yeah. But okay, I'll take your word for it, Machiavelli.
And he says basically that the main problem is that the plot gets revealed. Now, during the plan, the main issues is last minute changes, especially if lots of people have to coordinate.
Yeah.
They didn't have WhatsApp
Yeah.
messages to say, okay, the plan changed or something. This constantly destroys the plan. And also he says it's also lack of courage. Some people chicken out last minute. And also he says it's sometimes complete lack of prudence. And he gives an example. Thus, it is impossible for anyone, even a man who is steady of mind and accustomed to killing men and to using the sword, not to be confused. Still, men of experience in such matters must be selected, and no others should be trusted, even if they are considered to be extremely courageous, because where courage is required in great undertakings, if it has not been tested by experience, there is no one who can promise a certain outcome. This confusion can, therefore, either make you drop the weapon from your hand or make you say things that produce the same effect. Lucilla, the sister of Commodus, ordered Quintianus to kill him. He waited for Commodus at the entrance to the amphitheater, and drawing near to him with a drawn dagger, he cried, "The Senate sends you this." His words caused him to be seized before he had brought his arm down to strike Commodus. Messer Antonio da Volterra, assigned, as we said above, to kill Lorenzo de' Medici, shouted, "Ah, traitor!" while drawing close to him. His voice was Lorenzo's salvation and the downfall of that conspiracy. It's where he's talking about lack of prudence. Sometimes you
don't announce you're about to kill someone before you stab them.
Yes, but
you say it afterwards.
Here is where sentiment comes in, because Aristotle was saying in politics that you can survive if people hate you, but it's difficult to survive if you make people angry, because anger completely clouds people's judgment. And even if you're the major tyrant and they're just a peasant or something, a powerless peasant, they could just instantly come and kill you. So what is interesting here is that very frequently there's this sentiment of wanting to get revenge and vengeance, and people, they want their target to know that they killed him.
Yeah.
So he says that this is completely imprudent. Just don't talk. Do it and then deliver the
advice.
Yeah.
So of course there's the classic example of the assassination of Julius Caesar and that conspiracy.
Yeah.
But there's endless examples throughout history. But Machiavelli lived through a time where it was really common.
Yeah.
It was really, really common in Italy in the 15th and 16th century to have political murders.
Yeah.
Really common. I mean, his great patron, Lorenzo the Magnificent, Lorenzo de' Medici, there's a story there where they tried to murder him and his brother, Giuliano de' Medici, and they only got his brother. And Lorenzo, I think, was wounded. I might have just got away completely scot-free. But anyway, they didn't get him. And so it made Lorenzo very, very, very paranoid, obviously, from that point on. He always knew there's assassins out there. But when that sort of was like something clicked in Lorenzo's mind, which says, I'm going to basically not really be seen in public much anymore for the rest of my life because of that now. Anyway, it was the Patsy family were behind that one. But yeah, even the popes, the papal states, everyone was in the game of doing assassinations. A lot of the big palaces, or the main palaces in Florence, are mini bastions, mini fortresses with bars on the windows, on the lower floors, and super thick walls, super thick doors that you can't just batter in, because they're the scourge of assassination was sort of ever present.
Yeah.
So there's the example of JFK's assassination. I suspect there were more than 4 conspirators involved in that, but anyway, there were a lot more than 4 involved in Caesar's assassination, weren't there? A lot more. But perhaps they're exceptions to the general rule. I just think it's interesting that there's also, just to quickly say, it's not just conspiracies concerning assassinations, but, you know, broader conspiracies like the Catalan conspiracy, a conspiracy to seize power, or a conspiracy like the first triumvirate or something. It's there will be assassinations as well involved in the whole thing, but it's not just the assassination of one person. Nevertheless, everything he says does seem to ring true, doesn't it? The fewer people involved, the better. Someone's gonna squeal or lose their nerve or something.
Yeah.
The best assassination plots are a one-man show.
To watch the full video, please become a premium member at lotuseaters.com.